I have been wanting to read this book to us anyways. We read this way at the beginning of the year, so like a few months ago. And I wanted to reread it because it is what time of year?
March.
It's March. What season are we in?
Spring.
We are in spring, and lots of times in the springtime, things are growing, right? And at the beginning of the year, we talked a lot about growing, and we talked a lot about growing our brains and being gardeners. So we read this book. We read this book, and so I'm going to reread it for us today. It is by Joanna Gaines and her kids. So Joanna Gaines is somebody who decorates houses. She has her own garden. She has many different talents, and one of her talents is being an author, and she wrote this book with her kiddos. So that you will see their picture in here too. It's called We Are the Gardeners. Can it wait? What's your question? That what? Yes. She also wrote this book, Who We Were Made to Be. Same author. Okay.
But it's not by her children.
No, she wrote this one by herself, and she wrote this one with her kids. This is Joanna Gaines right here, and that's her 4 kids.
Oh, that's a lot.
My friends, if you're shouting out, I'm going to ask you to head back to your seat. We Are the Gardeners. That's a pretty official title, but we didn't start out this way. Just like our garden, we started small and grew from there. Some say that a garden just grows from seeds, but we think it grows from trying and failing and trying again. A garden is hard work, but so is most of the good, important stuff in life. Give me a thumbs up if you've ever grown something before, like a plant or a flower or vegetable. Oh, it doesn't ask for comments, just for a thumbs up if you have. You can share later. Our family's garden story began with one small potted fern. Dad stumbled upon it at the hardware store when he ran in for some supplies. He said it was just too cute to leave behind, and he thought it would make Mom smile, and it did.
That's pretty good.
We chose a sunny windowsill for the pretty little fern. It seemed like a good, safe spot for him to grow. This was back when we were little kids, but we still remember visiting the plant each day to give him a drink, and sometimes we'd even whisper to him a bit. And then, plot twist, out of nowhere, our fern died. Death by overhydration. That was just a fancy way of saying we gave him way too much water. Looking back, each one of us must have watered him every day. That's a lot of drinks for a little plant. By mistake, we loved the plant to death. Some people tell themselves they are no good at something after one small failure, but no chance we were going to give up that easily. What did they need to have? Lorenzo?
A seed.
What? I'm thinking of like a special word to us that like they need to have to keep going.
Perseverance.
Yeah. So we checked out some books from the library, and we found out that the fern can be tricky and prefer to live in a shady spot. Apparently, a plant's leaves can communicate to us what they're needing. We also learned that most plants have good manners and like to sip, not gulp. Lesson learned. You see how they have like the little plant here? He's like sipping a teacup. So silly. Dad got us a fresh fern, and with it came fresh hope. This time we set the pot on our piano, way on the other side of the room, where the sun wouldn't give him so much attention. We made a watering schedule and took turns saying a lot of nice things to our little sprout of a plant. And fern number 2 lived and thrived and grew Finally, Mom got him a little potted friend. And then another. And then one or two more. We noticed that talking to our plants actually helped them grow bigger and stronger. So we added some songs and jokes into the mix. Unlike when we were overwatering, 0 plants died from us talking too much. Pretty soon, plants were taking over the house, and Dad said it was time to graduate to outdoor gardening. Ronnie?
Actually, plants, that's actually a really good thing that they put in the book. That's a fact. When you sing to plants, they're actually really, really smart. So when you sing to plants, it like helps them grow better. They're actually really, really smart.
Aren't these illustrations so pretty, you guys?
Yes.
I wonder how they did them.
Mom was as excited about the new outdoor garden as we were. And she started talking about it with dreamy looks in her eyes. That's when Dad called a family meeting so we could come up with a plan.
Look at Mom's present. Well, her garden would be beautiful.
We all gathered around the kitchen table and got to work dreaming, planning, and drawing things out. We knew we needed a sunny spot, a place where the plants could sunbathe for at least 6 hours a day. We'd be red as radishes if we did that, but plants just love it. And more than that, they need it. In the garden, there's no life without sunlight. We learned that, didn't we?
Yeah.
It says, notes, full sun, good soil, water. Shed, chickens, water. And then it looks like they are going to be planting flowers in this row. Some vegetables in this row. We've got corn.
Carrots, tomatoes, and broccoli.
And then, do you know what these are?
Radish.
Radishes, good. Lettuce,
Pumpkin. Peas.
good.
I want to eat the pumpkin.
Yeah. Dad always says that the foundation is the most important thing when it comes to building a house. A house can't be strong if it's built on something weak, and same holds true in the garden. So make the foundation of our garden strong, we filled it with something called soil. Good soil, which includes a bunch of tiny living things called organisms, can grow in it. That's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it. A whole hidden world of life is happening beneath our feet. Just because you can't see the good things with your eyes doesn't mean they're not there. And another cool thing about soil is that it feeds and strengthens the seeds we sow, and then, like a miracle, plants and flowers burst out of the ground.
I can see some of the
Pretty crazy, huh?
I see some of the potatoes.
We also knew we needed our garden to drink plenty of water. Rain is the very best thing for plants to drink, but it's hard to know when and if rain is coming. So a couple other options to keep plants hydrated are to collect rainwater or use a sprinkler or garden hose to get the job done. Ooh, pretty. Once we had a location with plenty of sun, good soil, and watering plan, we got right to work. First things first, seeds. The most fun part of planning out our garden was deciding what to plant. We started with the foods we like to eat, like strawberries and tomatoes, and then we chose some pretty flowers to keep them company. The thing about seeds is that they're everyday miracles. Everything a plant will grow up to be is already hidden inside of the seed. We chose flowers like zinnias, sunflowers, and cosmos, so the pollinators would visit our gardens. We know about those too. Butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees spread pollen from flower to flower, encouraging even more things to bloom. We like knowing that little helpers are out there in nature working with us to help this garden grow.
Beautiful. Oh, shall be house in there.
The bees must have put the word out that we had a pretty good thing going, because sure enough, all sorts of other critters started to arrive. We quickly found out that there are 3 types of bugs in our backyard: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the worst part. It was a pretty sad day when the aphids, pronounced aphids, arrived. They are some of the more well-known villains in the gardening world. They suck the life right out of plants. But then the ladybugs showed up to eat those pesky aphids for lunch. Ladybugs are, for sure, part of the hero camp, bravely protecting our plant friends from harm. And we've got to tell you about the earthworms. They're like the secret agents of the garden. Earthworms eat all of the dead things, like old roots and leaves, and turn them into life for the soil. Every time we found one, we would all high-five and celebrate. They aren't pretty, but who cares? They're awesome, and we love seeing them hard at work.
Ooh, that's a cool worm. Look at the worm.
So worms are not that bad.
We realized pretty quickly that we needed to help the weeds out. They are the true bullies of the garden. Weeds try to steal water, sunlight, and nutrients from our fruits and veggies, and it's our job to make sure those little rascals don't take over. If we ignore the garden for too long, the weeds run wild and hurt our beloved plants. It's so much easier to just do a little bit every day.
Wow. The weeds must not take
Kylie, our class is over here. Take your head down, please. We were officially gardeners and had a real-life garden to prove it. That garden became our pride and joy. Day in and day out, we tended to our plants, making sure they got plenty of sun and water. Every time a new plant sprouted up from the ground, our excitement grew right along with it. Yeah, they're so pretty.
Oh, I want the flowers are pretty. The beautiful flowers are beautiful.
As time passed, our garden grew bigger, and so did our family. When our garden was finally in full bloom and growing tall, we'd run through the aisles and watch the butterflies flutter around us. What do you think they meant that their family grew to, Annie?
They had a little baby.
Yeah.
Where? In a little picture. I think he's a boy because he's wearing blue.
Yeah, and that's a true story.
That's the little baby.
So know how many kids do they have?
5. Well, there's 2 girls.
But one day, as we were mid-skip, we noticed some trespassers helping themselves to lunch. And by lunch, we mean half of our garden. Animals may look cute and innocent, but some have a sneaky side. They can wipe out a garden in no time flat. The chickens ate the vegetables, the goats ate Mom's roses, and the bunnies weren't picky at all. They ate anything in sight. Saying goodbye to that many happy plants was even harder than throwing away our first dead fern. We debated if we should just give up. Was it really worth it all to start over again? Then we remembered one very important detail. We are the gardeners. It was our responsibility not only to grow this garden, but also to protect it. So we put up a little fence to keep the animals out and got to work rebuilding the garden.
That's a big one. Animals are so
It didn't take long to get the plants and flowers growing tall. Again, to this day, our very favorite days are when we get to gather the fruits of our labor. Mom loves to set the table with pretty flowers in every color you can imagine. We help her dream up recipes for the food we've grown. Sometimes when we see all the beauty laid out, we can't believe our hands helped to bring it to life, and it makes all the hard work worth it. It's what keeps us coming back day after day and season after season. Joanna Gaines, who is the author of this book, she also is the author of a cookbook. So she wrote a bunch of recipes that you can use in your kitchen to help you make different meals. We still keep a little fern on the piano to remind us of our small beginnings. Every time we water it, we are reminded not to give up when things don't work out for the first time. Because the thing is, whether one potted fern dies or half of the garden's wiped out by little critters, every failure or setback teaches us something. Dad says that every hard thing we choose to do makes us braver for the next time.
There's 2 girls and 2 boys.
There are so many lessons waiting to be learned and a whole world of gardening ready to bloom. We are the gardeners, and you can be too. They're so cute.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Okie dokie. Do you guys like this book?
Wait, he's at the front too.
Me too. I just write it down here. Virtual friends, thank you guys for reading with us. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you tomorrow.